So entrepreneur, is it a leader? Is it an idea? Is it a business? Is it a spirit? I don't know, maybe it's all. I know I was born an entrepreneur. 5 years old, I wanted a circus. So in my backyard, I created one. I had the neighborhood kids come, they paid to basically watch me swing on a tire to music.
At 7, January, I flood my basketball court. Ice skating rink. $5 in my pocket. The thrill of victory, and I am on my way to my entrepreneurial life. I think my best coup to the date was high school, night of the SATs, 600 people in my backyard. I had perfected the art of a parent out-of-town party. And yes, I charged everyone to get in, except if you knew me, of course. But other than that, profit, $2,000, paid for my dress, all my girlfriend's prom tickets, all of our limos, and our night out afterwards. Some would say that was my first foray into party planning. My parents take full credit, of course. Maybe they were right. Who knew 10 years later that would be my career? I went to college. I studied marketing and business. Loved it. After college, I went to London, and I lived abroad for a year with some girlfriends, and I didn't really care what I did there. I had a great time. I flew back to New York a year later. I felt sophisticated and worldly and invincible. I didn't know what my life was going to look like, and I know I am now dating myself, but it was something like a Donna Karan onesie, shoulder pads, and like crazy rockin' high heel shoes. I was going to have a fabulous life, and I was going to take New York by storm. Little did I know, 3 weeks later, my life would forever become a before and after. It's a beautiful sunny day in May, and I go to visit my best friend from college to hear all about her exciting New York life because I missed it, I was away. And I take the subway downtown, miss my stop, and I walk 10 blocks up to where her street is. Unbeknownst to me, I'm followed those 10 blocks into her building and down the hallway. So I'm ringing the doorbell and I hear a noise, and I look to my left, and there's a man coming down the hallway. And I had like this involuntary shudder, and I thought, something's not right. That man attacked me and stabbed me 37 times with a screwdriver and left me for dead. There was not 1 second of that attack where I didn't stop thinking. Scream, block, yell, defend, roll, push. My mind kept working. Even when I thought in my whole being, I am dead, he is going to kill me, it never occurred to me to give up. Never once did I think surrender. He finally left, and the police came. And I'm in a bad state. And they said to me, you saved your own life. Only 7% of women back then defend themselves. 7%. And while my heart was beating and I was breathing, my soul was dead. That was the day I lost my joy. I had many, many dark months after that, and I kind of took to my bed. And one day, while I'm lying there in that bed, staring out the window, looking at the rain, mourning my 22-year-old self, I stopped and I thought, wait a minute. This isn't me. What am I doing? If I allow that man to stop my life 1 centimeter from what I thought it was going to be, he might as well have killed me. And while I couldn't control that attack or that man, I could certainly control who I was going to be going forward. I could decide who I was going to be and what I was going to do. And so I had to tap into my fearlessness, and I actually stood up out of that bed and I said out loud to myself, "You picked the wrong girl." I had acutely realized at that moment that all we have is that moment. And all we have is today. And let's make it count. And I knew I needed to spend the rest of my life celebrating. I had no idea what that was going to look like, but I wanted to be around people enjoying that moment. While I thought I would have no joy in my life again, by surrounding myself with other people's celebrations, that would have to be enough to sustain me. All right, party planner. Events, fun, parties, drinks, like that sounds good to me. So now there's courses on it. Back then it was like, what's a party planner? What's an event planner? How do you even figure this out? So within 2 weeks I had 2 job offers. One at a big corporation in the conference event planning department. Great salary, great benefits, cushy job. Parent connection, la la la. And then the other one, this scrappy downtown wedding planning company, literally, like 2 people in a room. And I was offered $18,000 and commission on anything I brought in because my job was to create their corporate market. So while everybody in the world thought I was insane, I took the downtown offer. I was like, there's always going to be another bank. And I loved that there was no ceiling on what I could do. To me, I'm never afraid of failing. I'm afraid of the woulda, coulda, shoulda. So I took that job, and my first day I walk in, and my boss says to me, "So how do you feel about cold calling?" I'm like, "Love it, bring it on." He's like, "Okay, here." And he gives me a phone book, literally, and he's like, "Bring it on." And I'm like, "Okay." And I go to my cubicle, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know how to plan a party. I don't know how to do sales, and I don't know New York." I was in London, remember? So none of these things stop me. So I think to myself, okay, who has to spend money? Who has to have parties? So I sit down and I start to call every bank, every law firm, every company that needs to spend money. And with every hang up, I have a new determination. I remember once I call a client at Solomon Brothers, and with her 15th, "We don't need you. This is my job here." Click. I was like, she doesn't really mean that. So I sat in her office with 50 yellow balloons all day until she actually saw me. She's been my client ever since. So I've now tripled my company's business 2 years later. I had found my passion. I had never lost my ambition. And I'm like, I want more. I can do this better. I left at 25 to start my own company. And I flipped the business model because I had realized my industry is going about this all wrong. Why are we charging the clients that we want to do business with and compete with them? They shouldn't be paying me. The spaces should be paying me for bringing them the party. Now I'm free and everyone can use me. I didn't realize back then that I had just revolutionized my industry with that one idea. To me, I was just solving a problem because I wanted more money. So now I'm like a one-man band, and I am like 24/7, and I am at 2 million in sales, 5 million, 7 million, 8 million. I'm hiring people, I got people, and I'm like, wait. One day I stop. It's not just me anymore. And it's not just me and a bunch of helpers. Like, I am building something here, and we are creating something. We have a culture. My motto in life is, you don't ask, you don't get. So go and get it. I have never taken no for an answer. And so when women in my office would come up to me and they said no, I would look at them blankly and I would say, I'm sorry, I am not familiar with that word. Go back and find a yes. And they'd be like, but I'm like, go. And they would figure it out. I empowered every woman that worked for me, and yes, it was all women, to run each event and have each client as if they were an owner. I was like, rock on with your big bad self. And that was the culture that we were creating. I call it corporate karma. It is not enough to inspire. You have to show the steps and give the tools. I had to lead by example. All right, so we're having our biggest event like to date. I got all my girls with me, and we're in New York's oldest and best hotel. And the general manager comes up to me and he says, because I'm unhappy and I wanted the bar to be moved, so I told somebody. He comes up to me and he says, listen, young lady, with his finger in my face. And I look at the girls and they're looking down and I'm like, oh no, he didn't. And he's like, I've been doing events for longer than you've been alive, and this is how we do it here. And I smiled in front of all my girls, and I said, but I'm the woman that made you $2 million of business last year. And I said, we put the bar over there. He moved the bar. I sat down 2 years ago to write my memoir, to tell my story, finally, that had never been told to anybody in 20 years. Not because I thought the world needed to hear my story, because we all have a story. We all have a defining moment in our life that can keep us stuck where we are or can help us to move forward and create something. So as I was writing down my story, I realized through all my professional battles and all of my personal battles, my skill sets were the same. And it wasn't just to make money or more money. And it wasn't just to merely survive. But it was to thrive and to create and to make something meaningful. And that is my entrepreneurial spirit. So if you ask what it is or who it is or what and how to define it, maybe it's different for every person. I think it's passion. I think it is moving through your fear no matter what to get to that thing. I think it is not listening to anyone who tells you you can't. But it is that eternal yes. And that can create anything. Thank you.